had to sit back and I was praying with God, and God really showed me like where I was slacking. Like I lacked discipline. I lacked, I forgot my authority in Christ. Like I had a really bad poverty mindset. God told me that poverty was in my family and it's affected me heavily. And I had to break those covenants, those generational curses. Like, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Madela Messiah if you're new here. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. All right, so today's video, as per the title, I'm going to be talking about how I got my new job and just pretty much give all glory to God, because it is truly Him. He's truly the reason why I got this job in the first place. I had nothing to do with it, just how everything worked out. It was by His grace. And this is me getting a job after like 2 years of not having like a legit real job. So I'm gonna go ahead and give all glory to Him and pretty much just share my testimony and how I was gifted, or how I got into this position. Alrighty guys, so as you may or may not know, I have my real estate license, my Georgia real estate license, and my South Carolina real estate license, and I have had it since 2020. So I first got my license in November. It was like late October in 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. And I started off with Keller Williams. When I was with Keller Williams, I didn't do any deals. My experience wasn't the best in the beginning, only because I think it was just like the timing that I probably went in there. That time they had an issue with uploading my contracts, and there was also an issue of like nobody taught me how to do the contracts or like how to write a contract. Like I had zero idea of what contracts I needed if I got a buyer or even a listing, how to write them, how to send them off. I had nothing. I had no idea of it. And before you want to bash me or say like, well, didn't you go to school for that? If you're an agent, you know that pre-licensing course, it doesn't tell you, there's not one chapter on there on how to write a contract or what contracts you need for a listing, or if you have a buyer's agent. So when I got my first client, which was like a month and a half after, and it was like in December, I think.
Mommy?
Yes?
Are you going?
No, I'm not going. I'm just trying to film this video, okay? Remember, if you stay inside, I will take you to the park in the mall, okay?
Yeah.
Yes, so just close the door, and when I'm done, I'll let you know, and I'm gonna call you, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Love you.
Thank you, baby. Anywho, I'm my first client in December, and I showed him, I think maybe 2 homes, and I got this lead by doing an open house on behalf of another agent. So I reached out to him. I got his phone number. I reached out to him after the open house, and I showed him, I think maybe actually showed him 1 home, and the home that he saw, he wanted to put an offer in. And I struggled, guys. I struggled with putting an offer in. I didn't know. I was blowing up my coach or whatever he was, one of the instructors at Keller Williams, asking him like, hey, what do I need? Like, how do I write an offer? Like, I literally called the agent and I was like, hey, I have a client that wants to put offer this amount. I thought that was the offer. Like, that's all you need. Like, what do you need besides the pre-approval letter? Is that it? And he was like, well, okay, well, write the offer up as best as you can. I was like, write the offer, what does that mean? I was that bad, guys. I was calling my instructor over the weekend and trying to ask him, like, what do? I have no idea. And he helped me as best as he could. And in the meantime, while I'm struggling to get the documents together, and I was literally panicking. I was like sweating and I was just losing my mind. While I was doing that and getting everything together, the client was just like, what's going on? Like, he was just so snobby and so rude. Like, it was just a nightmare. Anyways, the day after I sent him the contract to sign, he was like, hey, we're gonna go with another agent. So I guess he saw the contract and he was just like, what? This is like, I don't know what his reasoning was. Maybe he thought I wasn't professional enough or I wasn't on time enough, but he went with somebody else. And that just broke my little spirit because I was just like, dang, like I worked hard for this. And, you know, I was very motivated, and I was like, if only I had my contracts together. And I was like, take two. So I was thinking, like, if only I had my contracts in order and I was properly set up, I would have gotten a good little check, and it would have been like $5,000, and that would have been a great first check. So that really like put a damper on my mood. And then I remember like trying to find creative ways to get leads, and everything was just so expensive and costing me. I had just broken up with my son's dad. I had just moved into this place where I was at right now, and financially I couldn't afford to put in that much money and just not see any results, right? So I was doing some research, and I wanted to go to another brokerage that could provide leads that I wouldn't have to pay for, or have a base pay, which I didn't even know existed. So I was looking around. I interviewed with two people. One of them was a local real estate agent here, and I interviewed with her. First interview I had went great. She told me that, you know, they had like a $30,000 or $40,000 a year base pay, but you know, it's kind of like prorated. It's like you get paid in advance, and then but you have to make sure that you're doing like at least 3 deals a month to where you can like exceed whatever they pay you in advance, if that makes sense. And then so they paid for everything. It was no office fees, it was no fees at all, you know. They paid even for your yearly dues, you know. So I was just like, wow, like that's great. Like that's what I need right now. I want something consistent and where I don't have to like fork up a lot of money monthly to, you know, keep my license or, you know, to stay at a brokerage. So interview with that lady, and then the second interview I had to take was with the broker herself, and she was not feeling me at all. Like I always joke about this to this day. Like she was just like, oh, that's an expensive purse, or she was like expensive. Like she was just, I don't know if it was a compliment, but the way that she said it, she was just like, oh, I like your purse, looks expensive. Oh, I like your shoes, looks expensive. Oh, you have a printer at your house? Yeah, I do. With color? Yeah, I do. Oh, really? Like, I maybe she thought like I was like I don't know. It was a very weird interview, but I already knew I was gonna get it because we did not vibe at all. It was just like, yeah, it wasn't vibing. So then I interviewed with somebody else, and I really felt like God was just like my like first class real estate. I just kept on hearing it over and over and over in my head. I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and go with this brokerage that God is telling me that I can go ahead and go to. So I transferred from Keller Williams to First Class Real Estate, and it was a franchise company. And the lady that I, you know, moved to, she was the broker, or the, I think how it works out was she was working with First Class Real Estate. And once she got her broker's license, then she was gonna take over and have her little, you know, branch of the franchise. So the actual name of the brokerage that I went to, the company I went to, was First Class Real Estate Performance Group, and that was my broker's franchise. Hope that makes sense. But anyway, so I went with her, and immediately when I sat down with her and she showed me zip forms which saved my life, she walked me through every single contract. She showed me how to do like a little template. If I have like a listing, these are the contracts that I would need. If I have a buyer, these are the contracts that I would need, and this is how you fill it out. And that just, I was like, wow, like this is just, I was like a breath of fresh air, like, oh, like it's so simple now, I understand. And if I have to write a contract, I know what to do. And me sitting one-on-one with her, because it was a very small company at that time, so me sitting with her and she just showed me everything, I was like, great, now I feel like I'm actually equipped to take on clients, because I know the paperwork that I'll need, I know the lingo, I can study this, and you know, I'm better prepared to be an agent. And then they also provide leads. It took me 6 months to get my first deal. I think it took me 6 months, maybe like either 6 or like 4 to 6 months, I think. And it was with this lady, sweet little old lady, And the first home that she toured, she would put an offer in, and then so I wrote the offer up. I sent it to the dude, and he called me. He was like, "Hey, we'll accept your offer," and I was just like so ecstatic and so happy and whatnot. And that deal took 2 months to close. That's another story for another day. Actually, I did talk about my first closing, so you could look at that. But yeah, so it, I was just happy. I was excited and whatnot. My second deal with them, I actually got, it was an internet lead that I had gotten when I was with Keller Williams, because they showed me how to do internet leads, and God told me to call her up, and I was like, God, I don't want to have spoken to her in like a year. Why are you pressing me? And God was just like, why just call this lady? So I called her, and then lo and behold, she wanted to sell, and rest is history. That deal also was a nightmare, which I spoke about in my video when I was like, I didn't make any money. I was like, that video I was talking about how I made $0 for the year. So please watch that one. That one's also like a good video to watch. But yeah, so I had 2 deals with them, and then what was really stressing me out was the monthly fee, the $100, because again, I was not with my fiance at the time. We had broken up again, and it was just like a lot on my plate. So I wanted to move to another brokerage, and well, actually no, that was killing me. But you know what? I didn't even want to move. God told me to move to where my license is at right now, Vanda Morgan. And I was just like, God, why? God showed me putting down their sign in a yard, and I'd never seen Vanda Morgan signs before. And he's actually a top producer in the Augusta area. So I'd never seen his sign before, and I saw the sign in my dream, and I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't even think anything of the dream. And then when I was driving around to go somewhere, I saw a Vanda Morgan sign. I'm just like, this is exactly what I saw in my dream. So I was praying and I was asking God, like, well, God, like, do you want me to move? Like, I'm fine where I'm at right now, or so I thought I was. Anywho, going to Vanda Morgan was the best thing that I could have done, right? There's a season for everything. My season was up with First Cash Real Estate. I love them, it helped me out tremendously, but my next season was to go with Vanda Morgan. I learned a lot. I learned about the just like a good like work culture, and he had like little systems in place that made sense, and he did provide leads and whatnot. It's 3 deals with him, but 2 of them were personal. One of them was with a lead with him. And yeah, and then not having to pay a monthly fee, oh my God, helped me out tremendously. I love that for me. Like, and it was like a good space. It had like a little cute office, and yeah, it was a good little time. But that season apparently, is coming to an end right now, or honestly, it already came to an end. So early up this year, after I had my first deal, my last deal in December, so things started getting like a little like rocky with me financially. Like, I had made my first 5-figure month in December, like December rolling into January, but I also had a crap ton of expenses in December rolling into January. Like, I had to get a new car. I had to help my sister out with some money. I had to put Royce in daycare. Like, I was like just handing out money like here and there. And I just had like a lot of expenses to pay, so I was just like forking out money. And then so I was like, you know what, God, like we gotta make some shake. Like, I am just like stressed out. It's no way that I made like 10 grand in a month, and I'm just broke. Like, I'm just so tired of just being broke all the time. Like, this is not cute. This is not for me. This is not your will. This is like, you know what I'm saying? And guys, I have a huge confession. It got so bad that I was literally doing DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Instacart in my brand new $50,000 car, right? Like, I would get looks of people like, oh, you're the delivery girl? Oh, that's a nice, like, I would just be getting like judgy looks, like, and honestly guys, the Jeep isn't like an Escalade or anything, but it's just like, you see that big old brand new shiny car, and it's just like, something isn't adding up, like everybody was looking at me like, it's a nice car. You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyway, so, and honestly, I'm not trying to be like, oh, because I have a nice car, I shouldn't be doing that. It was just like the principle, like, I really should not be having to do this right now. Like, I just need like I did it before, like years ago when it was my season, but I'm just like, God, like, I feel like I'm at a level, or I've grown enough to where like I should be making money doing what you wanted me to do. You wanted me to do real estate. Like, what am I doing wrong? You know? So I had to sit back and I was praying with God, and God really showed me like where I was slacking. Like, I lacked discipline. I lacked, I forgot my authority in Christ. Like, I had a really bad poverty mindset. God told me that poverty was in my family and it's affected me heavily. And I had to break those covenants, those generational curses. Like, so poverty, God showed me laziness. God was like, you have a strong spirit of idleness. I didn't even know that idleness was, or being like lazy was a deadly sin, you know? So God showed me where I was slacking, and God showed me that I turned a blind eye to it, and I just thought it was like a norm, and I was just not dealing with these things. And I was asking him to put me in positions where if he did put me in that place and I brought that poverty mindset, that lazy mindset, that lack of discipline, that it would just, you know, fall to nothing. And he showed me that when I made 10 grand in a month and it disappeared, you know, within seconds, you know? So he showed me like, you asked me for this, you fasted for this, you made your first 10 grand in a month, and what happened, right? So he showed me that I had to deal with the poverty mindset. He was heavy in the poverty mindset, break that covenant that was, you know, on, or, you know, like holding me. It was on my family, on my dad's side at least. So I had to break that. I had to break the laziness that I had picked up over just being like unmotivated. And I had to get, you know, be disciplined. And God was like, if you work on these things, I guarantee if we get rid of all those icky, nasty things, then, you know, things will start to fall in place. So I listened, I buckled down, and I'm not perfect right now, but I, you know, was breaking covenants when it comes to the poverty mindset and whatnot. I was watching videos that God asked me to watch, and I was just like doing pretty much like, you know, God, like, I'm gonna take you serious right now because I tried it my way and I have failed tremendously, and I am just sick and tired, and I'm just fed up of being broke, and, you know, it just wasn't working out. So while all that was going on, I had gotten a message from that hiring manager that was working at that company that I had applied for. You know, when I told you like the lady was judging my shoes and my purse. And she kept pressing me, and she kept asking me like, hey, interview. So I was like, you know what? I respect her persistence. I'm gonna, you know, do an interview with her. So I did the interview with her, and I was like, funny enough, I interviewed with you before. Or like, I interviewed with your broker, and I just joked about what the lady said. And she was like, what? Like, maybe she was just like, she has like good taste, and maybe she just thought like your stuff was actually like tasteful and she liked it and whatnot. She was just like, you know, well, I think I have a position that I can put you in, a transaction coordinator, you would like it and whatnot. I interviewed with her husband actually, because they work on the same brokerage for the same company. And interview went great, but they responded and said like, hey, you know, like they had some changes in the company, and, you know, they can't take me on right now because they wouldn't be able to financially support my salary. And then she reached out again and was like, maybe we could do like an agent or whatnot. I was like, okay, fine. And, you know, I interviewed for that position, and I really thought that I was gonna do it. And I was like, God, like, why are you talking to me so much about this this lady, and like, what, like, why am I doing these interviews and I feel like it's not gonna be, I'm not gonna get the job? And God was like, I want you to pay attention to how the broker, how she runs her business. So God was telling me to pay attention to that part, right? So in the interview, I paid attention to how she ran her business, and I was like, whoa, like, this makes so much sense. Like, she has it broken up into separate teams. Like, there's not one man doing everything. Like with normal brokerages, like, you just have your agent and they're like doing everything. Like, they're doing the negotiating, they're doing the lead generating, they're doing the nurturing of the leads, they're doing the contract work, they're doing the closing work, they're doing everything, right? That she runs her business. She has a lead generator. She has an inside sales rep, so they nurture the leads. Then once it's nurtured, it's handed over to the agent, and then once the agent puts it on a contract, they hand it over to the TC, the transaction coordinator, and then it closes. And because she does it that way, she's making bank. Like her business is rolling even in a slower season. Because I was like, what do you mean you guys have so many leads that you can't handle? It's like interest rate is 8%. Like it's slowed down. Not for her, because everybody is really strong in their department and they're just like handing over the baton, right? So I was like, wow, okay. And so I paid attention to that. But meanwhile, while I was interviewing or talking to her, I got an email from where I'm at right now, my company, from her name's Christine, right? Got email from Christine, and she was like, hey, I have this position open for a lead generator. I have this position open for a admin assistant, and I just want to see if you were interested in it. So I was like, God, like, should I or should I not, right? And so I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm interested, I would like to know more about the role. Go ahead and give me a phone call whenever you can. And she responded to me immediately, and I was able to talk with her, and I told her, I was like, well, all what you're saying, I can do. I don't have any problem just assisting with writing your contracts and whatnot. And however, I just need to be at a certain amount per year. I have to have a certain amount a month, and I've already worked it out. Like if I'm paid this much, I'll be fine if I can do like some hair on the side, right? And I remember prior to this, I was sitting in my car. I was like, God, I am tired of doing Instacart. I'm tired of doing DoorDash. I want to do this no more. I was like, I'm dead serious. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I said, whoever is in my seat right now at a job that I'm supposed to be, may they rise and go to wherever they're supposed to be so that I can sit in that seat, right? That was my prayer. And I was like, within 2 weeks, I want to have something locked in, right? That was my prayer. And then so this lady reached out to me maybe like a week after that, right? But I'm still thinking that I'm supposed to be at the other company that had reached out to me, right? I interviewed with her and whatnot, and I met the hiring manager, and she was so sweet. Like we talked for like 2 hours almost, I think. And they had me like a little test with the contracts, and I did the test. I missed like maybe like 1 or 2 things because I hadn't wrote a contract in like 5 months. But overall, it was just work that I was like, oh, like I can do this. Like it's not hard or anything. And I asked her about the work environment. I was like, is everybody here friendly? Like if I have a question, can I just ask you as a question? If I need help, can I ask for help? And she was like, oh, 100%, anything you need, I got you. And she was not lying, because like some people will be like, oh, like we're real family oriented and we're real like lovey-dovey and we're a family here. And it's honestly not the case. But them, honestly, like I thank God so much for my hiring manager. Like there's sometimes I'm just like, God, thank you so much for this lady. Thank you so much for this lady. She don't even know. Like I be praying and thanking God for her, because she is just like chef's kiss. I interviewed with her, but I was still holding on to the thing. Like maybe I could go with the other lady because I thought it was gonna be more money, or it was for me. I got a call back, and she was saying like, hey, we hired 2 new agents. We want to focus on them, blah, 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 right? So I was like, okay, whatever. And I was like low-key sad. I was just like, well, dang, God, like I thought this was just like, it for me. Like I'm only gonna be making this much here. We're not gonna be making that much there, right? I don't know what the big deal was, guys, or what I was tripping about, because whenever I did start my job, even the first day, like it was smooth. Like it was like smooth sailing. Like it worked so perfectly. Like just even in the little details, like I'm close to home. I can come home for lunch. I can take an hour for lunch. They're so laid back. I usually be taking like an hour and 10, hour 15 minutes if I'm being realistic. And she doesn't press me or anything. They're so laid back. They're so my vibe. It's very flexible. Like the environment, like I'm just like reminiscent. I'm thinking on how, like for example, I wanted to go to a an opening, like one of my I guess like real estate friends, he had an opening like by his new job that had a new location, and I went there and I spoke to her about it. Hey, like, can I take a late lunch to go to this opening? And she was like, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. And it took me like an hour and 30 minutes to come back, and she wasn't tripping at all. Like, I couldn't do that at the other one because the other one was at, like, it was in South Carolina, and it was like 40 minutes away. So I couldn't do what I could have been doing, what I can do at this job right here. I have like so much flexibility and whatnot, but the good part of where I'm at right now and what God is showing me in this season, it's just for a season. God has reminded me of that twice. It's just a season. I'm not going to sit here for forever, but I'm learning about how to be organized, how to be disciplined, right? So I already took care of the poverty mindset. Now I'm learning how to be organized and disciplined. I'm learning how to like stay on track and not be lazy and make sure that I'm doing everything on time. So like God is like really showing me. So when I was praying on the poverty mindset, I broke that curse, broke that covenant, and then here comes this job. Because guys, I was very much equipped for whatever I was applying for, but because that covenant was in place, the spiritual realm is stronger than the physical realm. The spiritual realm is stronger than the physical realm, and God honors His covenants and God honors laws and whatnot, right? So there are certain systems in place that you have to play by, right, spiritually, to be able to succeed. Physically, right? If you're not a Christian, you won't understand, but if all my Christians out there, if you have knowledge of this, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, so you know, took care of the poverty mindset. I got that job, and now I'm like, the things that I was praying about, discipline and being more organized and being just like very professional, like God is working on that through this. And guys, I have not done DoorDash not one time. Like I think the first week I did because I had, you know, I was not doing hair as much, but it's been weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks since I've done it, and I don't plan on doing it ever again. Funny enough, the reason why I got that job is because the old administrative assistant, she got a new job. So like my prayer was, I prayed that whoever's in my seat, I want them to get up and go to whatever job they're supposed to go to. So she got up and she went to the job that she's supposed to be at, because she's making way more money and she's actually doing what her degree was in. Like, ain't that crazy? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it honestly was not me. Like, it was not me. Like, even though I did apply to that job, because they have my resume on file, that's why they reached out to me. Like, even though I applied like months and months ago, I think it was like last year or so, you know, it wasn't the right time, or even if it was the right time, is I had that covenant in place. But now that that covenant was removed, they reached out to me, you know, the interview went well, and they love me there. But my guard is not down. I'm still praying daily, because I can see little things that they would try to like make me second guess myself on my job, or make me feel like nervous about my position. However, God is reminding me to remember, you have authority in your dad. You have authority in me. Like, I already gave it to you. This was a promise from me. Don't let the devil try to, like, you know, and God is telling me that He allows certain things so that I can get stronger, and so I can know how to better equip myself for his attacks and whatnot. But He won't let the devil come close enough to destroy me at all. So I'm gonna wrap this up right here. I just wanted to share my testimony on how I got that job. I am extremely grateful to God, and I just want to say, hey, like, if you are struggling right now in whatever you're doing, ask God. Just say, God, like, what is it? Like what is holding back? Like, what is it that I cannot see that you could see that is preventing me from getting to where I need to be, or preventing me from using my my degree or my license or whatever it is. You know, like, you probably have all of these business ideas and all of these really good entrepreneurial like ideas and business strategies, but no matter what you try, like, it's not working out. Ask God, like, what covenants are on my bloodline that is like preventing me? Like, what is it that I came into agreement with that I'm not even aware of, that is preventing me from doing what you have written in my heart, you know, what is like preventing me from my will, you know, for my life. So ask God. Like, if you're an educated person, you have all of these ideas, and like no matter what you're doing or no matter what you're trying, it's not coming to pass. Ask God and say, God, I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like, what is it? Like, what is it that's stopping me? And God will answer. You humble yourself and you really cry out to God, like he will 100% answer you. Like, he will talk to you. Like, he will respond to you. And I'm a testimony right here. So, you know, just cry to him and ask him, like, what do you want from me? What do I have to do? What do I have to change to get to where I need to be? And he is not going to just tell you to do something and you're on your own. He's gonna walk you through like every single step. Okay, try it, come back to me, let me know how it goes, because like I said, I'm a living testimony of what asking God, what changes I have to make, you know, can do. All right, you guys, that is it for my video. I do have a day in the life of a realistic assistant, so go ahead and check that out so you can see like what I'm doing on my job. And I will be doing like weekly vlogs here and there about that, so you can have an insight of, you know, how it's going for me and if this could be something that you could also do yourself. Okay, all right, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.